Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm out in the ATV trailer today. I wanted to do an update video because for the last year or so, ever since I built this trailer, I've been getting quite a few comments and questions on my trailer build video about how I did various things, and there's been some additions since that video, so I thought this would be a good time to do a quick update video, walk through everything that I've done along with some things that are still to come, and show you how this build went, so stay with me. Quick overview of the trailer itself. It's a 19-foot Deluxe V-nose trailer from Legend. I absolutely love this trailer. I've wanted an enclosed trailer for as long as I've been ATVing and owned trailers myself. So to get something like this has just been, a goal for me to be able to have something where all of your gear is in the trailer at all times and you can just go at a moment's notice and don't have to worry about making sure you have all your kit and stuff like that to go riding with. So to have an enclosed trailer, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And the build out on it has been, it's been a work in progress. There's still things to be added to it. But up to this point, it's turned out exactly how I would have imagined it to be. So one of the first things that I needed to do when I first got it was some sort of tie down system. And I decided on the E-track system. So you can see I ran a couple tracks down on the floor, and then I've got a couple tracks on each wall. And I can still add to that if I wanted to put some at different levels. But the E-track system, I just find it's very versatile. You can hang things on it, you can attach things to it, you can tie down to it, and it just makes it for a very versatile tie down system. I also, on the walls for hanging equipment, I went with the Gladiator track system. I've been using this in my garage for years. I really do like the Gladiator system. It can be a little bit pricey, but any type of system like this, whether it's Husky systems or Craftsman that you can get at various hardware stores, any of those types of systems, as opposed to just putting fixed hooks in the wall, it just gives you some more versatility for being able to change things up as your needs change. And because I use this for camping as well, and I'll put up a couple clips of how we've set this up for camping, I'm able to take everything down off the front here, all of our fin trails and helmets and gear and stuff like that, take everything down, rearrange the hooks, and set it up for camping and put different kit and stuff and gear that we need for that. So it just makes for a very versatile setup the way I have it with that with the track system and the Gladiator system. Now, one of the things I really wanted to make sure I had in this trailer was an electrical system. And deciding on what I wanted to do for power took me a lot of research. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. I did a lot of research into what type of system I wanted to install. And ultimately, I settled on a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery system that can also be powered by shore power. So I have a shore power outlet on the outside of the trailer, which goes out the wall right there at the bottom, and I'll get into all that in a minute. But I can plug it into the house and it'll charge my battery, which is in this cabinet here. And as soon as I disconnect from the house, everything switches over to that 12-volt battery, which is down underneath the cabinet here. So it gives me a completely off-grid setup that I can use while we're out riding. I can use it for camping if we don't have an electrical site, and everything is self-sustained and self-sufficient and off-grid in the system here. So the heart of the whole electrical system is obviously the battery. And there are a lot of battery options out there. And when I first built this trailer, I did a lot of research into what type of battery I wanted. And I originally had settled on the Lifetime 100 amp hour mini battery. The nice thing with lithium iron phosphate batteries is if it's a 100 amp hour battery, you get 100 amp hours out of it. You can drain it down to zero. When I was researching these and deciding what type of battery to go with, if you go with a regular lead acid, like a deep cycle battery or an AGM battery, if it's rated at 100 amp hours, you can only bring it down 50%, and that's when it's completely dead. So you're only getting 50 amp hours out of your 100 amp hour battery. Whereas with these lithium iron phosphate batteries, you get 100% of the capacity. So I've been using that mini battery now for, well, since last August, so about a year now, since I built the trailer. Just recently, Lifetime reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in a partnership and trying out one of their bigger batteries. So they just sent out, and I just upgraded to this one here, which is their 200 amp hour battery, which is rated for 2,560 watt hours, which is just crazy that it can run up to 2,560 watts continuous and for 200 amp hours. So this is double the size of the one I had, and it's just gonna give me so much more off-grid options. We run a coffee maker, any sort of accessories and stuff like that you wanna make when you're out camping and things like that. It just gives you basically endless power with a system like this, and hooked up to an inverter so that I can use it off grid and still use 120 volt accessories and things like that. It has just been amazing. I got this installed about a couple weeks ago now, and I've used it on a couple rides, and it's just been great so far. I've been very happy with the Lifetime products. And they also sent along this solar charge controller, because what I would like to do is put solar panels on the roof of the trailer, just to sort of give me, you know, sort of endless power. As long as you have the sun, then you can power off grid as long as you need to. So if you're on a camping site and you don't have electrical, then, you know, power by solar and not worry about your cooler or your fridge or any accessories that you're running, lighting, things like that, draining your batteries, as long as you can keep them charged. So the solar charge controller that they've sent here, my plan is, this is a 60 amp solar charge controller, and that will do any of these different voltages, anywhere from 12 to 48 volts. And what I'm gonna do with this is probably mount it right on the wall here, put some solar panels on the roof, and then that will charge and control the solar charging into my 200 amp hour battery there. So that is going to make the whole system a lot more self-sufficient and not reliant on having to plug into the house to recharge the battery. But I'll get into all of that a little bit later as we walk through here. But, you know, if you're looking for battery for either, you know, for an RV setup or for a trailer or for a boat, you know, trolling motors, anything like that, these Lifetime batteries are just amazing. And I did a lot of research into what type of battery to buy when I did originally buy that mini battery, and I bought that myself. There are a lot of options out there. The Lifetimes have one of the best reviews. If you watch the teardown videos on them, they're built very well, and I would highly recommend them. I'm really looking forward to getting more use out of that 200 amp hour as we get into a couple camping trips this summer. Another really cool addition that I just got recently are these wireless camera system from a company called Autovox. They sent out 2 systems, and I've actually combined the 2 systems so that I have 2 cameras working off of 1 monitor. And these are completely wireless. They're so easy to install. They are magnetic. They have a magnetic base, but because my trailer's aluminum, I obviously couldn't use the magnetic base. So I just mounted their permanent screw mount there. And then the camera itself, there's a little set screw. You probably can't see it, but you might be able to, right up here. There's a set screw on the top. You just take that set screw out, and then the camera pops right off there for charging. But this one has a solar panel on the top. So this one will stay charged, and these last for months. Even without the solar charging, they'll last for months without recharging. And the video quality on these has been unreal. I'm gonna show you some shots of you know, what it looks like on the monitor in the truck and the range that I get. I'm going to show you down my street here. If you see that car driving in the distance there, that roundabout is probably about 200 feet, close to 200 feet away. And as soon as I drive with my truck to that roundabout, it automatically connects to these cameras. So I'm getting really good range out of them, including the one that I've put in the trailer here. So I have one that I use as a backup camera, and then one that I put up here in the front of the trailer that you can use to monitor the inside of the trailer while we're driving. And what I did with this one, it comes with, like I said, those magnetic bases, and it came with this steel plate, which you can mount anywhere. So now I can take my wireless camera, and let's say I'm camping and I want to use it as an outside security camera. I can magnet this to the side of my truck, or I can, you know, put another plate on the outside of the trailer here by the door and be able to stick a camera out there to monitor outside the door, as well as monitoring out the back with the other camera. So it gives you a lot of options. And then when you want to charge it, just charge it up with USB and then stick it back on and you're good to go. So those from AutoVox, they're very affordable. I've wanted a sort of a backup camera system for a while now for this trailer. I just hadn't got around to getting something. And then when AutoVox reached out and asked if I'd wanted to try it out, the reviews were awesome and the product quality looked really good. I watched a lot of review videos on it as well. And I've been very happy with them. I've used them twice now towing, and just to be able to watch behind you, and it also does recording. So depending on which model you get, because they do have a ton of models, so very specific to what your need is. They have ones that attach right to your license plate bracket, so you can get a camera there, or these magnetic types, or lots of different styles. So depending what your setup is, they have something for you. And the video quality has been just awesome. So I'm going to show you some of that and show you how it looks like in the truck. So I'm going to move into the truck here and show you guys what the screen looks like. So this is one of the screens that came with one of the kits that I got, and I really like the wide screen, sort of the style of this one here, because when you're displaying two images on the screen, it doesn't have too much distortion. Because it's such a wide screen, you get two really nice images on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you in real time here how quickly the cameras boot up. So I've just got in the truck and everything's off. I'll just move my ignition to accessory and you'll see the AutoVox pop up there. And within a few seconds, you have, there we go, both images are displayed. So you're looking at the reverse camera on this side looking into my garage, and then you have on this side is the camera inside the trailer. So right now that's the image with no lights on in the trailer, and the back of the trailer is closed. So the only light that's coming in is through the skylight in the trailer there. So it has really nice night vision on both cameras and really good quality. So this has a few different options. So there's a few different buttons down the back here, and you can swipe through and we can make, say, channel 1 a full screen if you wanted to back up and have a full screen, or you can move to the interior camera and just go between all of those. And you have grid lines on there as well if you wanted to use those. I personally turn them off, but within the menu system here, you have guidelines, you have playback and record as well. You can maybe see on the screen here, both video feeds are recording. So this monitor has a memory card built into it. So you can use it as a sort of a dash cam kind of thing for security purposes, or for, in case an accident or something like that. But it has the option to record, and you can turn that on or off if you do or don't want it. But overall, the video quality is really good. I'm really happy with it. And the nice thing with the screen here, because it's just a suction cup mount and it just plugs into the lighter outlet, is if I did want to use it sort of as a security camera when I'm inside the trailer, I can just unhook it from here and then plug it into a lighter outlet inside the trailer and use it as a monitor inside there. So really good options. I really do like the system. And if you're looking for a backup camera system, it's definitely worth checking out these AutoVox units. So now I just want to go over the electrical system. I'll show you how I've wired things up, what I've got running everything here, and then we'll move along and we'll go over everything else that I've done in the trailer here. So looking inside this cabinet first, you'll see I've got all my electrical on the side there. So there's a water pump up top, because I do have a water system in here as well. So I have a 20-liter water jug here with a sort of a pump system that I came up with myself to be able to wash ourselves, rinse off, mud and stuff like that at the end of a ride. And that's where this hose here goes out the side of the trailer. And I'm going to show you that, how it all works in a few minutes. But for right now, the electrical system here, this is how I've laid everything out. So I've got my positive and negative bus bars there. I have a shunt coming off of the negative on the battery there. And what that does is shows me on my control center here my battery capacity, my state of charge, what draw is coming out right now, and what's going into it. So it's just sort of like a little information center there to keep track of your battery. And then this is also where I have my other controls. So I'm powering all of my DC accessories, which are lights. Anything that operates on DC is running off of my aux beam control panel that I have, which is, close this up here, around the side. So on this side here is where all of the electrical components are mounted. So down here, I have a 1500 watt inverter. So when I'm not plugged into electricity on the shore power side of things and I'm running off of the battery, I still want to be able to power things like my lights, which are 120 volt, or other outlets, or be able to just plug in household appliances in here. The 1500 watt inverter runs off of that 200 amp hour battery. And above that is a 30 amp transfer switch. So what this does is transfers the power from the battery to the shore power or vice versa. So right now I'm plugged into shore power, I'm plugged into my house. As soon as I disconnect that plug from outside, this transfer switch instantly transfers that power to the battery. And as long as the inverter is on, I get a seamless transition. There's barely a flicker of the lights and power continues on. And then over around the other side there, I have a Victron smart charger. So that is what is charging my battery when I'm plugged into the house. And it's all automatic. I've plugged it into an outlet there that I wired in that only comes on when I'm plugged into shore power. And then down underneath that is where I have my aux beam, basically the brain of the aux beam control panel. So all of my DC accessories, which I'll show you up on the panel here because it's easier to see. So my water pump, my stereo, my interior lights, and those interior lights are those just the stock lights that came with the trailer, those little LEDs. And then I have side light, which is a rigid light that I've mounted on the outside of this door, and then rigid lights that I've mounted on the back as well. So all of that is controlled by the aux beam switch panel. And what I really like about this new aux beam switch panel, because this is a new one that they sent me, is it came with a wireless remote. So at the back here, I have a remote, and this will operate. So if we look up front here and we see, switch number 5 is my rear lights. So we'll go to the rear of the trailer, and what this allows me to do is either operate the lights and stuff from the back here, like I'll keep this, and it has a magnetic back to it, so I just keep it, attached to the cabinet there so I can work it from back here, especially once I have machines in here, not having to go all the way to the front. But it also allows me when we're camping, or if I'm driving at night and want to use these rigid lights that I have up here. So I have one here and one over here. If I want to use them as reverse lights, then I can just hit number 5, and there they are. They come on instantly. I'll click them off, and there you go. And then I have one down the side here as well. So this is my sort of like my porch light right up here. And if I click number 4 there, there's that light. So this, the remote system works really well, and it just adds an extra level of convenience to be able to take the switches with you anywhere, or be sitting out, sitting out at camp, and you're out at dark, and if you hear something or you want to be able to turn on some lighting just for security, you can have your remote instead of having to come back to the trailer. So this is sort of the command center that I built here. And then this one here is the on-off switch for my inverter. So I don't need to go down to the inverter here. You can see it's powered on now. I don't need to go down there to power it on. I can just do everything right from my control center here. Moving on to the water system, because this is probably my favorite part of the trailer, is to actually be able to have running water on the trailer out, off grid, and just to be able to clean up after a ride. So it started, like I said, so I've got a pump, a Seaflow pump that I have up here just off Amazon, and ran the hoses and ran it into the 20-liter jug here. I used to have 2 jugs in my initial build, but when I got this bigger battery from Lifetime, I needed to get some space back. So I've gone down to 1 jug. But what I can always do if I do find I need double the water capacity is just keep a second jug and just keep it off to the side. And when I need to switch them out, it's just on a quick connect here, quick hose disconnect. I can disconnect that and connect it to another jug and have double the capacity. So the way the water system works is it's powered, again, by my switch panel here. So I'm going to turn on water, and that has activated the water pump. So what I'll do is down in this cabinet, I keep, in this bin, I've got a coiled hose, which will attach to the outside outlet and give me sort of a spray nozzle. And then somewhere down in here, I have this nozzle. So I went with a company called Aquar. I found these on Amazon and did a lot of research on them, and they seemed like the perfect solution for what I was looking for, because I wanted a nice flush look on the outside of the trailer. So this is my outlet here. So when it's not in use, you barely even notice it's there. It's not obtrusive in any way. And then when you want to use your water, you just open that up, you take this nozzle here, and it just twists in and connects right in. And now I have an outside water faucet. And then I can just control that here. Just get the water out of the line, or sorry, the air out of the line. And there you have running water, very good pressure, not much less than what your home water pressure would be. And I have the option of connecting that coiled hose as well, and sort of having a wash station out here where we can wash off your legs or wash off, the machine or fin trails, anything like that, with the limited capacity of water that we do have on board. So, this has been just a game changer to be able to have running water. And then when you're done, you just pop this off, it drains out, it self-drains, close up the lid, and you're done. And, you're ready to go hit the road. So that has been one of my favorite things that I have with this trailer. And while I'm out here at the side, I'll talk about the shore power inlet. So this is the Reliance 30 amp inlet box that I put on the side here. It uses a 30 amp plug, but I only have it wired right now because it'll do 240 volt. I've only got it wired for 110 right now. But I did this in the event that I wanted to put an air conditioning unit on in the future. I would have enough power to do so. I am putting an air conditioning unit on, but it's going to be a 12 volt unit. So it's just going to be powered by the battery, and that's going to be something that I have coming soon. But this is, a very simple shore power connection. So as soon as I plug it into the house here, it starts, it powers the trailer and charges the battery at the same time. And as soon as I disconnect that transfer switch inside transfers over to the battery, and power continues on while we're off grid. So that covers off all the electrical, the water system, and how I control everything. Now I just want to go around and show you sort of what I've done and everything that I have on the walls here. So I went with these Husky cabinets from Home Depot. I just liked the look of them, the size, everything worked well for my setup here, and everything matches. So I put just a 30, I believe a 28 inch wall cabinet here. And that's just to store, just odds and ends, towels, whatever you may need, especially if we're camping and stuff. I can throw more stuff in here. But generally, there's not too much stuff in here, but lots of space. I got a broom just for sweeping things out, and mounted that on the wall using those quick fist clamps. They hold super secure, very easy to get on and off. And you can use those for anything that's sort of a tubular shape. They come in all different sizes. And then just running down the side here, I've got some tie-down straps hanging on the side. I've got my sound bar here, which I absolutely love. This is from Kemimoto. And if you're looking for a sound bar for your ATV, your side-by-side, your boat, trailer, anything that you're looking for a sound bar for, this is their Midnight 80. I love their Midnight series. I have a full review video on this sound bar. We also put one on, if you remember Lee from some of our videos, I put one on his side-by-side, his Can-Am X3, and it's just an awesome bar. The light show that it puts out is really cool. It's got lights all around. It's got chase light on the back. It's got lights on the bottom, and just a really cool looking bar, and it sounds amazing. So in here in the trailer, it just, at the end of a ride or when you're camping and you just want to have some music going, that's an awesome addition there. And then running down the side here, this is just sort of a shelving unit that I got off Amazon. This particular one is made by Black Boar. And what I liked about this one was it was very slimline, so it only sticks out about 5 inches from the wall there. Has room for all your necessities, your oils and stuff like that. And then this paper towel rack here, you just pull the pin on the side and that drops down. If I didn't have these cabinets here, it would give you sort of a work surface. So it gives you a little workbench to work on and do whatever you need to do. And then when you're done, just fold it back up and it clicks back into place and stores securely like that. So that's an aluminum rack. I really like that, and that's served its purpose really well. And then looking down here, we already went through the cabinet on the right there, both Husky cabinets. And then I went with the drawer unit on this side, and I just keep odds and ends in here, tie down straps, battery chargers and stuff like that. And then as we go down, just different odds and ends. and some camping supplies, you know, tablecloths and bug sprays, just anything you might need for camping. It just allows me to keep stuff in the trailer at all times, you know, without having to bring stuff in and out. There's more bug repellents and air compressor, toolkit, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm keeping in there. And then as we move along, we've got our fin trails, so they all have a home to hang here. Makes it really nice for, you know, after you wash them, and they can just hang here and dry, and you know, they're organized and out of the way. And then the rest of my stuff, boots and gloves and things like that, just go up in the this basket here. So that's where I have it for now. And helmets have their space to hang on the wall here. And what I did was I just took a bungee cord with some attachment points on the wall there, and that just runs across the helmets there, just to hold them in place from bouncing around too much while we're driving. If initially I had the helmets at the back of the trailer, I had everything lined up on the wall here, and because the back of the trailer tends to bounce more than the front does, I found I was losing things. Things were bouncing off the back of the trailer, especially if it was empty, if I didn't have machines in here. So keeping them up at the front, there's a lot less bounce, and I haven't had any issues with anything falling off the wall up here. And you can see I've also got more Gladiator and E-Track on the walls up here, just for attaching things to. I've gone over here, the control center and fire extinguisher in the corner there. And then what I did for the door as well, for our camping, is you can see this Velcro that runs along the perimeter of the door. I have a magnetic screen, which is right in this drawer here. So this just stores down in there, and it's a magnetic, really nicely made magnetic screen door. So when we're camping and I want to be able to keep this door open, I attach the door, the screen to the Velcro there, and then it gives you a nice magnetic split down the middle. And I'll post a clip of how that works from when we were camping. But that's been working perfectly. It seals nice and tight right down to the bottom, keeps the bugs out, and allows you some ventilation in here as well. Because I don't have any ventilation in this trailer. I didn't order it with windows or anything. I did order it with the top vent, but that vent is going to be going very soon because that's where my air conditioning unit's going to be going. So as far as ventilation, you know, I have a couple side vents. There's one there on the wall up top, and then one down there on the bottom. But aside from that, I don't really have a whole lot of ventilation in here. So to be able to open that door and have the screen makes a huge difference in just getting the heat out while you're camping. And then moving down the side here, in case of emergency, I bought a little portable toilet there. So, you know, just in case, that just takes bags, and that's something I picked up from Bass Pro. But that's a really nice unit there. And as we move along, I've got my spare tire. That was from the factory that I had. Well, the tire's not from the factory, but the mount was done from Legend, from the factory. And then underneath that, I've just put a pack-out box, which has all my tie-down straps and that kind of thing in it. So that will pretty much, if we look up top, the lighting that I have in here, my main lighting is these 4-foot LED strips. Again, they're just off Amazon, very inexpensive. You're somewhere in around $100 for all 6 of these. I've got 6 strips in here. Originally, when I ordered the 6, I thought it was going to be too bright, but I find it, just perfect in here. And if it is too bright, then it's very easy for me to come to the switch here, turn off those lights, if we're camping or something at night, and just turn on my interior lights and just use those 2 LEDs on the side. And that just gives us a nice glow. Doesn't use nearly as much power as well. Those will last forever on the battery. And at night when you're camping and stuff, it's just a nice glow in here, but it still lights it up really well. So I turn those off and turn the big ones back on. So that will pretty much do it for inside. I'll do a quick walk around the outside of the trailer, and then that's pretty much going to wrap up the video. So going down the outside, one of the things I did put on is the stabilizer jacks on the back. I had that done from the factory. I wanted to be able to get the ATVs in and out of the trailer without being hooked up to the truck. So this allows me to stabilize the back end, and I can drive machines in and out the back here. And I also had, from the factory, this 110 outlet put on the side here, weatherproof. So this is, again, powered. I've wired it up so it's powered by my inverter system or my shore power. So I can have something sitting out the door here or run extension cords for lights or coolers or anything that we have, and just do it right from the side here. And then up top, showed you that earlier, so I've got a rigid light up there as a porch light. And then as we come around the front here, one thing I did change was the jack. And if you are looking for a low profile jack for your trailer, I would highly recommend the Ultimate Trailer Jack, which is what I have here. This is not a sponsored product. This is something that I researched and purchased with my own money. But what I found with the jack that came with this Legend trailer is even when you retracted the foot up, it still hung very low. And I was finding that the foot was bottoming out, even on the very light slope that my driveway has here. It would bottom out and scrape the driveway, or pulling in and out of parking lots, especially when you're ATVing. You're going into dirt parking lots and stuff that's very uneven. I was finding I was bottoming out that foot a lot. So what this Ultimate Trailer Jack allows me to do is, once it's hooked up to the truck and you relieve the pressure off the foot, you just pull this lever here, it pulls out, and the whole thing, the whole tube inside slides right up. So you can retract. You can see I got about 6 inches there that I can retract up, but then the whole thing, you can see these set points here for the push pin or for the set pin. That'll allow it to retract right up, and that foot comes right up underneath the plate here that it's attached to. So it gives you basically clearance right to the bottom of the tube of the trailer there. So this has been just a game changer for me. So if you're looking for something and you need more clearance at the tongue of your trailer and you're always scraping that jack, I would highly recommend looking into the Ultimate Trailer Jack, because that thing's just been awesome. And then moving around the side, again, we've already gone over the stuff out here, just the shore power connection and the water, and that'll pretty much do it for the outside. So like I said, 2 big things still to come, and coming very soon, actually probably next week. I'm gonna have that air conditioning unit is going to be delivered next week. I'm going to get that installed. It's a 12-volt unit. It's going to be a really easy install from what I've seen. The company that I've gone with is called OutEquip Pro, and they make a really good system from what I've seen reviews for. So that's going to be installed. It's going to be run to that battery, and then that's going to give us hopefully some really good cooling and ventilation here in the trailer. It also has a built-in heater, so it's going to give us some heating as well on those colder, spring or fall nights if we're camping in here. And then the other thing I'm going to be adding is solar to the roof. I want to be able to make use of that charge controller from Lifetime. So we're going to get that mounted. I'm going to get some solar on the roof and make this basically a completely off-grid, self-sustained trailer for camping, ATVing, sort of like a bug-out trailer. You could even use it as if you needed to get out and stay off-grid for a little while. With some solar and the batteries, you could power yourself indefinitely. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've enjoyed going through and showing everything that I've done. It's always going to be a work in progress. There's always little things that I want to tweak here and there. But the way I have it set up right now, I'm very happy with it. It's exactly what I envisioned for something like this from the beginning. And, it's serving its purpose really well. And I look forward to, a few other additions here and there. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.